Welcome along to Miami here at the Grand Prix circuit. We've got coming up for you our first race of the weekend for the McLaren Trophy North American Series. It's their third round of the championship, already having had a couple of races at Sonoma. The cars qualified yesterday and, well, qualified earlier today, actually, now I think about it. They had free practice yesterday and the day before, and the grid is set based on the times that were set in their first part of qualifying of the two qualifying sessions. Tom joins me in the commentary box. Tom, delighted to see the McLaren out there. You are media manager for McLaren and you cover all of these cars, both in Europe and in North America.
Yeah, we get around, but today is the first round in Miami, as you say. First time we've raced on the F1 bill, and first time in Miami, so really looking forward to seeing how these cars go.
So thanks to Tom Baker for joining me in the commentary box. The cars will be heading off on their formation lap shortly, so let's guide you through the grid then, and the way that they line up. The drivers are those that took part in qualifying one, so it is going to be Jeff Cook that starts on pole position, and Sam Nesser is alongside him. Row 2 of the grid is Patrick Liddy, and he has got solo driver Cooper Broll for company. Row 3 of the grid, it's another solo driver, Tony Davis, and he has got Scott Zabaro sitting alongside. And on to row number 4 of the grid, that's where we see Fabio Greco and Eric Behrens. The next row of the grid is Colin Harrison, another driver that goes solo, with Kaia sitting alongside on row number 5, and row number 6 is Robbie Stockdale and Ryan James, who's been very successful in this category in the past. Alex Hayner is next up, sitting alongside Mondi Bergation, and then it is going to be Stephen Sabaro that has Ned McPherson for company on row number 8. The 9th row of the grid, it's Bill Fenwick that's sitting there on the 9th row, but he's got Philip Ploskis just ahead of him on the grid. And then as we head on to row number 10, it is going to be Alex Pollard who has got Michael Steeves for company. The 11th row of the grid sees Randy Highland and C.R. Sincock, with Ron Trenker sitting at the back of the grid, and alongside him is Neil Langberg. So that is the 12 rows of the grid, 24 identical cars heading off on their formation lap. And Tom, these McLaren Artura GT4 cars running their 3-litre V6 engine, it's the Evo specification, all identical cars on. It's down to the way the drivers set them up in conjunction with their teams.
Exactly. Well, as you say, this is the car that's based on the GT4 package. However, this is the trophy car, so it's our own championship, so we're allowed a little bit of wiggle room in the regulations. So these cars are actually quite a little bit different from a GT4 specification car. So we've got wings that are higher for better aero, wider track on the front of the car, and crucially, our party piece for this championship, and a first in GT racing, we have a push to pass button, which is 300 seconds, which gives each of these drivers a strategic element to play with, whether that's to be used in defence or attack. So plenty of interesting things to look out for as the race goes. We're just looking at Ollie Webb on the radio there to Ryan James, and then number 22. Ollie and Ryan were European champions in McLaren Trophy last year in the Pro-Am category. So great to have them here in this championship in America, and yeah, ones to watch, certainly.
That push to pass, that means that the car, rather than have its sort of standard 580 brake horsepower, it goes up by about 6%, up to about 625 brake horsepower. And you can tell when they're using it because there'll be LED lights will flash below the headlamps.
Exactly, yeah. So it's around about 30 brake horsepower extra, but it just gives that little bit of a nudge. So, but as I say, it's a strategic tool for the drivers to have at their disposal. Do they use it in attack? Do they use it in defence? Be interesting to see. Yeah,
and if they're under attack, they'll be looking in their mirrors to see when the driver behind presses it, and almost then press it yourself to try and make sure that you defend your position. But the one thing you can't do is, use all of that in your half of the stint. The maximum driving time is 24 minutes before the cars will have to have come into the pits and swap drivers. So we'll have to wait and see as to which drivers utilise it more.
Exactly, and there we go, an old campaigner. That's probably killed me for saying that, but there we go. That's Johnny O'Connell, who's been around for a long old time. He's been what he hasn't done isn't worth knowing, really. Multiple champion in many things, and it's great to have him in the championship working with Philip Ploskis.
Yeah, won the Pirelli World Challenge between 2011 and 2015, wins at Le Mans, wins at Daytona 24 Hour. He's a champion in the American Le Mans series as well, so that there's not a lot he hasn't of silverware he hasn't picked up, Johnny O'Connell.
No, exactly. I had a quick chat with him before we came on air, actually, and he's looking forward to this. He actually really enjoys driving this car and working with the Flying Lizards team, but he's done a lot of racing on street circuits, and so he'll be putting that to good use. That's Spencer Smith there in the pits, keeping an eye on his car, number 47. As they come 2x2 line up.
Yep, they certainly do. So watch out for Jeff Cook on the front row alongside Sam Nezza. Jeff's Cook car is the black car with the whites and the orange and the grey to it. Sam Nezza, it's light blue and red that sits alongside. They're just working their way down towards the end of the lap. Row 2 of the grid, it's light blue and blue for Patrick Liddy alongside the orange, black and grey car of Cooper Broll. And then it's all white for Tony Adams and yellow and blue for Scott Sabaro, just to pick out some colours towards the sharp end of the field. We'll tell you more about the Pro-Am and the Am class and the Papaya Club as the race gets on, but we are about to get our race underway for what is going to be a 40-minute race, and as the lights are on the gantry, they will flash off now. We get the race underway, and it looks as though Jeff Cook has got a good start already and has managed to break away a little bit from Sam Nezza as they head up towards turn number 1 for the first time. So Sam Nezza sitting down there in second place at this stage, and it's Patrick Liddy that's there in third, but we've got problems at turn number 1. One car pointing in the wrong direction.
That's Eric Behrens, unfortunately. He's AM champion in Europe 2 years ago, come over for an adventure here in Miami, and unfortunately got a spin there, so he'll be rejoining at the back. Yeah,
Eric the Viking, who can trace his roots back to Viking roots. I think there might also be another car that's limping around with a little bit of bodywork. Looks like as though there's a small brake fire on Eric Behrens' car, which will hopefully extinguish itself, but that car remains stranded, I'm afraid, pointing the wrong direction at turn number 1, and that's another car that is off as well, I'm afraid, and that is going to be Mondi.
What a shame. That's a car that Tommy Pintos was hoping to get into later. But that, yeah, I think that's on the outside of turn 1, potentially, that car.
Yeah, so that's Mondi Balsagian, or Mondi as he rather just goes by at this stage. You can see the flashing LED lights below the headlamps, which tells you that cars are on push to pass at this stage. So Sam Nezza was trying to close up on race leader Jeff Cook and was utilising push to pass to try and get there. It's got in there at the moment. The top 3 have broken away, haven't they? Because it's Patrick Liddy who's there in third place at the moment as they crest the rise at turn number 14 and 15 and then start to complete what will be the lap this time through. So they're going to come over the start finish line and chalk lap number 1 into the book around this 3.3 mile circuit, and are going to see what they can do. Again, you can see the push to pass being utilised there.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we've got Jeff Cook leading at the moment. He's in the AM class, but a very quick AM racer. Just behind, we've got 2 pro cars and then another AM. So it's fantastic to see drivers from different backgrounds all competing in a relatively level playing field. But on that, on the exit of turn 16, most of them were on the push to pass there to get a good extra push as they came onto that long back straight.
Yeah, it's a really long back straight, isn't it? And then after that, they are literally over the start finish line, and that's lap number 1 chalked into the book. The stricken car of Mondi is at turn 5, so that's just as the cars weave their way through the kinks, and you can see there's a little bit of debris in the circuit there as well, can't you? Slap bang in the middle of the circuit, just off the racing line. So that, for the moment, is being covered by localised yellow flags. So you can see there's a change of surface flag over to the left-hand side of the picture that we're looking at as well. So the yellow and red horizontal stripe. So big frustration there, I'm afraid.
There we go. Yeah, unfortunate, but that was Tanner Harvey on screen there. He's keeping an eye on the car in third place there, driven by his teammate Patrick Liddy.
So the top 3 breaking away and starting to increase the amount of daylight between each other. So the race just settling down at this stage now. We might at some point be able to have a quick look at the replay of the start and just have a quick look exactly what happened on the start. So it looks as though it's a good start from Jeff Cook. Sam Nezza wasn't that far away, but look further down through the pack, and that's where we get the concertina effect. So the top 5 are through, and then as they head in towards turn 1, you could see there was somebody came from a long way back, and that caused the concertina effect, and as a result of that, poor old Eric Behrens was turned in the wrong direction.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was the number 11 car who had a stellar start, but came very close up the inside, ducked up the inside of 3 cars there. Eric, unsighted, sort of turned in, but the 11 car then unfortunately made contact with, I think, Scott Sabaro.
Scott Sabaro, yes.
The number 3 car.
Scott Sabaro was quite lucky actually to get away with that one. The battle for 5th going on, and Tony Davies is feeling the pressure here as jinking out from behind him comes Fabio Greco. He's drawing himself alongside, but I don't quite think he's going to get there in time. No, so he didn't utilise push to pass to the same degree all the way down the straight, but look behind, there is going to be an overtake by the look of things, and that is managing to nip through and up the inside there, so place gained.
That was Ryan James.
That was over Kaia Tio, wasn't it?
It was. Ryan went deep into that turn, but made the move work, managed to get the car under control and exit out of turn 18 on to start another lap, so he's done well.
Well, Ryan James knows what he's doing behind the wheel of these cars. He was the Pro-Am European champion in the past. We've seen him racing in GT Cup in Europe. He's done a lot of racing in the Winter Series as well, so he's a very, very experienced driver. Scott Sabaro also now looking to see what he might be able to do, and is closing in on Kaia, who, having just lost one place, she's enormously keen not to lose another one, but she's got that yellow and light blue car starting to get ever closer to her.
Yeah, Kaia had a great weekend at Sonoma last time out, winning with her teammate Paul Horton, who is not here this weekend. He is racing at IMSA over in Laguna Seca. Some of our new drivers here looking a keen interest in the proceedings as we roll into lap number 3.
Was that Matt Bell, that one?
Could have been
possibly.
Know the name, but not familiar with the face.
Yeah, well, there's lots of Matt Bells go racing. Exactly. That's the problem. Yeah, there's lots of Matt Bells that race, and it's trying to work out which Matt Bell you have on any one weekend, isn't it? So you can see the shuffles down through the order, almost 3 wide there, and getting very close came Alex Hayner there, and it was just managing to avoid any contact heading into that part of the circuit. But that was a good move from Alex Hayner. I think gained a place as a result of all of that. So watch out for Alex. That's another very quick car, isn't it, behind the wheel of that car. She's quick, and she'll hand the car over to the Canadian driver, Jesse Lazar.
Yes, yeah, Alex was our Pro-Am champion in America last year with Jessie, so one to watch certainly. She wasn't with us for the first 2 races of the year, but has come back and with a very striking livery on her car, so very easy to spot. She's now making a move on the outside of Ned McPherson, who is new into the championship this weekend and enjoying his time so far, but looks like Alex has made that stick. Meanwhile, up front, we've got the 47 car and the number 49, I think, of Steve Sabaro having a good fight. We've got someone trying to go on the inside and taking out the bollard there as well, so it's all going on.
So here we go again. Looks as though this huge queue of cars, there is going to be a shuffle in the order, as managing to sneak through and gaining a place there was Robbie Stockard. In the pit lane, there's Michael O'Brien looking away. He's one of the pro drivers that will hop in. And we're going to get a replay here of a spin just coming out of the blind corner from Scott Sabaro. So that's difficult, isn't it? He needs to try and be very careful as to when he got that car going, and he just waited for a gap in the traffic and got it going round in the right direction. And there's the bollard you were talking about.
Yep, that is how to destroy a bollard very quickly.
Yeah, Ben Fenich that was, that just ran wide and took the bollard out. No harm done to the front end of the McLaren Artura Trophy. Squabbles continuing further down through the pack. You can see the LED lights flashing on some of them as they head into attack mode and therefore are utilising push to pass.
Yeah, Bill's had a good run, and it's great to see him back in the car. He was actually out with us last year in Europe racing at the Spa. Double 2 races we had as support to this 24 hours race, and loved his time, so great to see him back for more.
Colin Harrison looking to try and gain places there, has pinched 1 place away and is now attacking Stephen Sabaro to see whether he can wiggle his way through. So that's the orange car with the black stripe down the centre of it, slowly trying to pick up places. He's got himself ahead of Ned McPherson now. The bollard sitting in the middle of the circuit there, so this is the battle for something like 13th, 14th, 15th places at this stage, and you can see that is a titanic battle between them all as well. So busy, all squabbling away for those kinds of positions, and some will be pro cars mixing it with AM cars, and then we've also got, I think, a couple of cars in there, the likes of Ned McPherson, who's eligible for the Papaya Cup.
Yeah, it's great to see so many cars all scrabbling over the same piece of tarmac, and from different classes, as you highlight there. Just trying to keep tabs on who's doing what. As Robbie Stockard is now chasing down Alex Hayner. Alex has extended the gap a little bit there. That's her teammate Jessie Lazar, who's keeping a watchful eye on how things are proceeding.
Jessie is another very rapid driver indeed as well. He was the Pro-Am champion last year, wasn't he, in this very category. He's been runner-up in the IMSA GT4 category in the past as well. So again, another very experienced driver, and that's one of those cars that's moved into the Pro class for this year, having been a Pro-Am car, I think, last year.
Pro-Am last year, yeah, exactly. And yeah, Jessie's got a good amount of experience of racing the Artura, having raced it, the GT4 specification car in Michelin Pilot Challenge, as you said. Colin's doing a great job in Oh, who have we got now?
So let's just have a quick look. Very, very sideways moment there, and that was Sam Nesser in second place, who heading through that tricky kink at turn 14, turn 15 went very sideways. We've got Bill Fenich having a go at, is that his second bollard?
He does not like bollards. Yep, that's the second go, so that's eliminated both of them. He wins the prize for getting rid of both of those.
Yeah, there is now a red mark on the white bonnet of his McLaren Artura. The squabbles still continue. Colin Harrison here is looking to see whether he can get through and ahead of the 49, and that is going to be Stephen Sabaro. That's the father of the two Sabaros, isn't it?
It is,
Scott
yeah.
Sabaro's in the race as well.
Yeah, Stephen started with us last year. Scott came in at Road America, did 4 races and did rather well, so they've now got a car apiece. But he seems to be doing a very good job of defending the advances of Colin Harrison. That last sequence they went through, the turn 11 through to 16, very technical sequence, and it really is critical to get that right to then set up the drag down the long straight.
And it's quite uphill as well. You sort of, it stays fairly flat through 11, but you get to 12 and it really starts to elevate the circuit through turn 13, turn 14. You get to 15 and that's sort of in the middle of the chicane where the circuit drops back away again. So that's a technical section where they're largely holding about third gear there until they get to turn 14, and they might just drop it down into second gear there. So let's just have a quick look at this little squabble that's still going on. Still Sabaro just ahead. In the pit lane there, Tom?
That's Keegan Massey, and he's keeping an eye on his teammate in the 812 car, the Rafa Racing entry. They've been showing good promise, actually. They're new into the championship this year. Had a decent run in Sonoma last time out. So yeah, I think they're enjoying the car. They're getting more and more used to it. The more experience they get, and loving life.
Did they not do the final round last year? Michael Steeves and Keegan Massey?
Yes, you're right. Yes,
yeah,
they did
the final round last year. And other than that, they've done a bit of SCCA racing, a bit of track days. But other than that, they are very much amateur drivers.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it's great to see them in the championship, and as I say, they're enjoying the car. It's quite easy. It's never easy, a car, but it's a forgiving car to drive, and it's good for the amateur driver to be able to gain experience in. So I think they're enjoying that characteristic very much.
I was just having a quick look at this squabble that's still going on between Stephen Sabaro and Colin Harrison. They both make a small mistake heading through that part of the circuit. I think there's another car just ahead of them that might have some damage to the front left dive planes of the car. So that would be the 65,
yeah.
Which would be Robbie Stockard. Yeah, so maybe a shot of the 65 at some point. We might be able to pick out whether there is damage on that front left-hand corner, because it looked like there was something that wasn't quite right when I spotted it.
There we go. Yep, you're right. Actually, there's just on that front left corner, the panel has come a little bit loose. So with the two dive planes on the 65 car, Robbie Stockard is hanging on. There's Joe Osborne, familiar face to many. I mean, face for radio, so I might say for others.
I mean, Joe has got, when you talk about racing experience, lots. When you talk about McLaren racing experience, lots.
Absolutely, yeah. Joe is actually a former factory driver with us, and so he's got plenty of miles under his belt in developing cars and racing our cars. Great to still have him in the championship, and yeah, he's been kind of a mainstay for us.
It's worth mentioning because we're heading towards the maximum drive time before too much longer, so that's why we've got drivers getting ready in the pits. That there is a minimum time that all of the cars need to be in the pits, and that's from when they break the beam at pit entry to when they break it at pit exit. That's 104 seconds for a two-driver car. It's 109 seconds for a single-driver car. However, depending on how they got on at Sonoma, or if, like the car that Joe Osborne is about to jump into, they're a guest car for this weekend, making a one-off appearance, you pick up extra time penalties in the pits.
Exactly. So we've got success penalties to bring in a bit of balance and stop runaway leaders in the championship. But in the meantime, we've got a great dice here between Randy Hyland and Ron Trenker down the back straight. Ooh, big lock up there from Ron.
There is, yeah. Ron, who we've seen racing, or I've seen racing over in the UK in McLarens in the past. You could just see, yeah, that front right wheel really locked there. And Randy Hyland, who again is fairly new to motorsport, was able to weave his way through. Further out on track, we've just had a spin as well, and that is going to be Robbie Stockard who's gone around.
Yeah, just a little over-eager, trying to go up the inside of Alex Hayner there, and yeah, a little quick rotation, but back in the run, so that's good to see. Here we got the 74 car of Sam Nessa. This car won the championship last year and is a bit of a fan favourite. They're running a one-off livery, split livery for this weekend, but more traditionally known as Lightning McLaren, with their very distinctive and easily noticeable homage livery, should we say.
No, it does look fantastic. I can imagine the younger the McLaren fans have been drawn to that one in the paddock area. So
we've got Neil Lamberg on screen at the moment in the race for RP backed car. Neil has been a long-term member of the McLaren family. It's always great to have him out. And here we go. We've got a pit stop for the number 22. This is Ryan James exiting and Ollie Webb had to get in.
Yeah, so Ollie, very, very quick driver. Let's see what he might be able to do. Racing for Greystone GT, as he has done for a good number of years now, Ollie, and is well versed to driving, whether it be either Artura Trophy specification McLarens or GT3 cars. And as it is a Formula 1 weekend that we're supporting, if you've watched the more recent Formula 1 film, you might see Ollie's names in the credits.
Indeed, yeah, plenty of running in that. And we've got the 29 car, so that's Philip Ploskus, ready to get out, and ambling over with not a care in the world is Johnny O'Connell there, ready to take over.
Johnny's done this so many times. There's no rush, he'll be saying. There's no rush.
Well, there really isn't. I mean, as I say, it's 104 seconds for a pit stop for two drivers, and that is deliberate. You know, we don't want people making quick driver changes and not having time to do the job properly, to get their safety belts done up, to make sure they're all strapped in safe and secure and the doors closed and everything else. So it's a sufficient time to make all that happen.
And you have officials that are all on hand that double check that, you know, that when the driver comes to a halt, only then are the seatbelts undone, only then can the driver change take place once the engine is turned off.
Exactly, yeah, so all nice and secure. But coming back to the success penalty and the success seconds that we started talking about not too long ago, so this is designed to prevent runaway winners. So the first place driver will have a 7-second penalty, and this applies to all three classes. Second place is a 5-second penalty, and the third place is a 3-second penalty. So that carries over from the previous race. So the race winner from Sonoma was the overall race winner was actually the 11th car, which is actually probably a bad example because they won't be serving their penalty, but they would have had to do 104 seconds plus an extra 7 seconds, so their total stop would have been 111. Sorry.
Well, they had 2 wins at Sonoma.
They did. I was just about to correct myself. So it would have been
pick up 10.
It would have been a 10 seconds. So yeah. So 114 seconds, but
your penalty system penalises overall winners in each one of the classes more so than it does seconds and thirds.
Exactly, yeah. So it's just designed to prevent runaway success and to make the championship interesting for everyone. We do have another caveat for this weekend, though, because we have a number of guest drivers. So in order to make sure that they are not coming in and running away with the race win and sort of upsetting the order, as Jeff Cook puts a nice slide in there and a couple of big black lines laid out of turn 12, I think. So similarly, Eric Behrens would have had to serve a 7-second penalty for qualifying on pole in Pro-Am.
Because he's a one-off car,
Exactly.
and we don't want him to run away. Yep. So there in the pit lane, we can see Ned McPherson. So he's driving solo, so he'll remain behind the wheel of the car for the lead of the race. Jeff Cook still continuing to lead. Sam Nessa still in second. So that is an AM car leading with a Pro car behind, and they both will stop for an extra 3 seconds based on what they did at Sonoma last time out. So the gap in reality should remain the same as and when we've cycled through this pit stop period.
Exactly, yeah. But the difference is the number 5 car is an AM entry and the number 74 is a Pro entry. So I really think that once we do that driver swap over, and the number 5 is going to probably go as long as they can into the window before that car stops, and Dennis Tierman takes over from Jeff, whereas Sam will pit and hand over to James Lee, who is a very competent and excellent professional driver. So we've got different abilities there, so it'd be interesting to see how that plays out and the fight for the overall lead.
So Jesse Lazar makes his way out of the pit lane, just having taken over the 43 from Alex Hayner, who had a busy first stint, did Alex, in that one. For the lead of the race, they are still together. It is still Jeff Cook fighting away with Sam Nessa, and they're in the pit lane. Tom?
Talking of Alex, yep, there she is, having got out and done her stint, and hand over to Jessie. So
she's come on really well, hasn't he? You know, for that car to be reclassified as a Pro car, it really shows how much Alex's driving has come on in this last year.
Absolutely, her development has been fantastic, and yeah, she came alive, certainly in terms of results at Kota last year.
Yeah.
That was the first podium, the first wins, and it was a fantastic weekend for her. They really ignited their championship battle, and then from there she's just gone step after step and got better and better. So it's great to have her back.
You can see Jeff Cook is working the number 5 in the lead of the race really hard. The tail end of the car sliding around, and again on corner exit there, just as he builds the speed heading down the straight. Again, you could see how close the tail end got to the wall as he was under acceleration, and the Pirellis were just on the very edge of adhesion. In second place, Sam Nesser is now on pass to push and is trying to close the gap on the race leader as they head into the heavy braking area for turn number 17 and then up towards turn number 18, which is the final left-hander. Are either of them going to peel for the pits this time through? Yes, second place does. So Sam Nesser is in the RWE Motorsport number 74. This will be to hand the car over to James Lee for part 2 of the race. So Jeff Cook now, what he needs to do is not worry about any cars behind him, focus on this lap as hard as he can and push really hard to try and come back out in the lead of the race.
Yeah, Jeff is going to go, as you say, as hard as he can. The pit stop, the total drive time he can do is 24 minutes.
Yeah.
So he's only got 4 minutes left. However, given what a lap time is, he's only got a chance to do one more lap, I think, before he's going to have to pit. Otherwise, he's going to be in danger of going over that drive time and risking a further penalty.
Yeah, I mean, there is the caveat that if there is a safety car or a full course yellow, the maximum drive time can be extended by 5 minutes, but you'd be unwise to bank on the fact that that one might come out in this next lap.
Exactly, yeah. So I think we'll be seeing him in relatively soon, although he has got the fastest lap, which always helps. So currently, we've now got Tanner Harvey and Patrick Liddy listed as second. Very quick partnership between them. And there we go, that's Sam.
Sam taking the helmet off, who is the youngest driver we've had, both in the McLaren Trophy North America and in the McLaren Trophy Europe as well, because he's competed in that. So
exactly,
I don't think he's only 18 years of age, isn't he?
He is, yep. So nice chap. And Dad is always in tow for these races, which is nice to see. So part of the family atmosphere of the championship. But yeah, Sam has accomplished quite a lot in his short time in racing McLaren, and it's really nice to see him. We've got a couple of people here this weekend in particular, but seeing our drivers who have raced in Europe coming over here to McLaren Trophy America and sampling the cars and the circuits and everything else, and being able to perform as well as we know they can in Europe. So.
And the great thing about McLaren is that you've got this driver development program as well. So, you know, if you are picked up at a young age, like someone like Sam Nesser, if McLaren are interested in you and you can pass the application process, the job interview, which includes chats with media, fitness tests, as well as sessions in cars, you've got that ability to become one of the driver development drivers and potentially in the future a works driver.
Exactly, yeah. It's the trophy series has now, or the trophy platform across Europe and America has now become a key part of the driver development program. So we've got drivers who have been former champions in this, like Tommy Pintos, who is champion in 23 in Europe, and they've come through into our development program. So Tommy is now actually termed as a GT3 junior driver, along with a number of other drivers racing all around the world. But that's sort of the second step, and then we're up to the pro, the full factory driver, of which we have 6 this year. So it is a key stepping stone for our driver development. We need to have a good pipeline of fast drivers to feed our racing activities going forward, and it's a great addition for our customer racing teams to have access to our factory drivers, and it really adds a key element to the Trophy Championships, knowing that there is this clear progression for drivers.
Some good battles going on further down through the order still by the look of things. Matt Bell is in the light blue car with the orange flashes to him. He is really pushing hard to see if he can wiggle his way through and past what looks like the 47 is that, which is going to be Spencer Schmidt, isn't it, now behind the wheel?
Exactly. Now Spencer Schmidt is a pretty quick driver himself. He really excelled in his first appearance in the championship at Sonoma last time out. So this is a pretty good battle. Matt is no slouch and is very experienced in these cars as well. So he's been, look at him hanging out on the outside there with the push to pass going, but Spencer's done a nice job. They are alongside. Can he go? Oh, Could be brave to go around the outside there.
Oh, he was always going to get pushed a little bit wide there, but
Yeah.
back off it again, because he'll know full well he's already got some damage from earlier on in the race, sitting on the front left-hand corner of that one. So wise stuff there. So Spencer Schmidt for the moment still hanging on to it, who's raced in other manufacturer series in the past. Originally sort of graduated out of the Skip Barber area he did. And into the pits, we have now just got our race leader coming in. So Jeff Cook is in, ready to hand over to Dennis Tierman at the wheel of the GMG Racing number 5 car. He's not the only one in the pits at this stage, because we've also got another car just sitting in there in the pit lane, and that looked like CR Simcock, is it? Yeah, black front to it, white tail end. Yeah, that's number 13.
Just looking at the time when he came in, he had 9 seconds left on the clock.
Wow.
For his total drive time, so that is, they've timed that well.
So when can then James Lee get round to conclude the lap? Because the number 74 is in second place at the moment. The changeover from Jeff Cook to Daniel Tierman taking place in the pit lane. Now, can James Lee get over the start-finish line and up towards turn 1 and beat the car that's in the pit lane, rejoining? And is that going to allow him to get through into the lead of the race? Because the number 5 is still stationary at the moment, and it will be pretty much the last of the cars to have pitted as well, because it was so close to, in reality, the maximum drive time, wasn't it? So that's the last car in. It'll be the last car out.
It will be. The car I'm just trying to see is where the 24 car of Patrick Liddy and Tanner Harvey is. So they will be hunting this car down as well. I think the battle, once we rejoin with Dennis back out on track, realistically the battle is going to be between James Lee and Tanner Harvey for the overall lead of this race.
Yeah, which are the 2 pro cars in reality, whereas I suppose for Dennis Tierman and Jeff Cook, who's just left the car, their focus will be on, of course, finishing on the overall podium as they can, but also make sure that you're the first AM car home. And so that's number 5 car making its way back down the pit lane. Where is James Lee relative to it? Well, we'll find out when they get towards pit lane exit. And there is the overtake going to happen, because up towards turn 1 goes the number 74. So James Lee puts that car for RWE Motorsport into the lead of the race. And I think the number 5 is going to rejoin in second position. Yeah, so the lead change has occurred in the pits.
There we go. So question begs, what's happened to the 24?
Yeah, so where is the 24 that will now be in the hands of Tanner Harvey? Should be visible in the background of the shot, you would have thought, but I can't see it yet still. So how far behind was he at the end of that lap? He was 9.3 seconds back by the look of things. So yeah, he's not quite going to be in shot at this stage. So he's got some work to do, hasn't he, in third place, Tanner Harvey in the 24.
Yeah, I can't think it's going to be too long before he's made short work of Dennis in second place though. So but how much can he gain on the first place car? We will have to wait and see. We've got 13.5 minutes left to run in this slightly shortened race. Normally our races are 50 minutes, but we are running a 40-minute race this weekend, in 2 races here at Miami. There is the second place number 5 car of Dennis Tierman as he goes through the chicane complex there.
Yeah, you can see the relative gap between first and second. I need to keep an eye on the lap times of Dennis Tierman back to the car of Tanner Harvey that's there in third place. So there goes Tierman, just threading his way through the left-hander and starting to get the power down as he starts to begin to climb uphill. And there is the gap back to Tanner Harvey. So yeah, Tanner Harvey, you can see, wasn't in shot a few corners ago. He is now in shot. So Tanner Harvey is pushing hard to try and catch the number 5. You can see the heat haze here in Miami as they both thread their way down the straight. Neither of them at this stage on push to pass. So Tanner Harvey is happy that at the moment doesn't need to utilise any of his 300 seconds or however many are left, because he has enough on overall pace. A quick replay, and that's a snatched break, and running wide there, John Lancaster. Now that was the car that snatched a break earlier on in the hands of the AM driver Ron Trenker. John Lancaster is a pro, and
I think John's just trying to balance it out, because he locked the left there and Ron rocked the right. So
maybe still trying to get the bias right between the two. Yeah. So another fight going on. Johnny O'Connell, will it not now? Who has got Jesse Lazar right behind it, will be, won't it? Those 2 cars. So the green car followed by the yellow car with the pink stripe down the centre of it.
We've got another battle behind. Yes, that's the 47 of Spencer Smith and Matt Bell still going at it.
Oh, sorry, no, it'll be
3 laps in.
It'll be John Miller, won't it? I apologise. John Miller fighting away with Jesse Lazar. Sorry, I misidentified the car there for a second.
This weekend, as I mentioned earlier, we've got John Miller in the car subbing for Paul Horton, who's normally racing with Kaia.
So Spencer Schmidt still fighting away and managing to stick his elbows out and hang on to the place. Matt Bell is throwing everything at this to try and work his way through, but at the moment he's just coming up short, isn't he? But this is a great fight for the final place inside the top 10. Spencer Schmidt just has his hands on that final place inside the top 10 at the moment, but it's not for want of trying for Matt Bell, who's got close, has had a couple of nibbles, but never really has been close enough. He's still carrying that small amount of damage to the front corner of that car as well, which occurred earlier on in the race, and that, by the look of things, is going to be Randy Highland.
Looking happy with his lot there, and done well, just rehydrating at what must be a very hot cockpit to step out of. He's handed over to Michael O'Brien.
Yeah, Randy was chatting to me yesterday and was talking about his experience. He'd done lots of track days in the past. He's had lots of seat time whilst testing, but it is his first year, so he was testing in different cars just to try and get seat time as well. The track temperature, I mean, it's been warm as you would expect in Miami, but it's hovering around 43 degrees at the moment. The air temperature is around 10 degrees lower than that. The temperature inside the cars, chatting to the drivers, it's anywhere between 70 and 80 degrees inside the car. It's not a nice environment with the sun through the window, all of your fireproof overalls on and balaclavas, but it's also the heat soak, isn't it? Coming out the brakes, the exhaust, the engine.
Exactly, but another reason why we've probably shortened the race to 10 minutes. And there are some famous eyebrows and some other eyebrows.
That's Tommy Pintos,
that is
isn't
Tommy
it?
Pintos, yeah.
Yeah, so I think has manicured his eyebrows based on Fernando Alonso, by the look of things. So Tommy will be frustrated because, of course, we saw the car that he should have been driving in the hands of Monty Barsegian retiring at the first corner. So Tommy Pintos, sadly, not even get behind the wheel of the car. That's the car that won both of the races at Sonoma, the opening round.
Exactly, yeah, did well, but yes, clearly Spanish eyebrows here in Miami.
So here we go again. Now that's another braking issue for John Lancaster. So I do wonder whether there's a small issue that they're just trying to work their way through and haven't quite found the sweet spot to try and drive around it at this stage. So with Ron Trenker having an issue and John Lancaster having two, so they're having to drive their way around whatever's happening in that car at this stage. Push to pass being activated there, though, by the look of things.
Yeah, so this is the battle for fifth place overall. This is Cooper Broll. They're in fifth place with the push-to-pass lights flashing at the moment in the 100 number 100 car run by Forte Racing. He is chasing down the OMS racing car number 4 of Tony Davis. Tony's new into the championship, but has done very well. Not, I would saying raised eyebrows would be the wrong thing to say, but he has impressed in his short time in the car so far, and they are battling for 4th overall, but 2nd in the AM class.
They are at this stage, yeah, absolutely, fighting away for 2nd in the AM class. There's nothing to choose between the pair of them. Again, you can see there, push to pass being utilised by both. So Cooper Broll using it to try and attack, Tony Davis trying to utilise it to defend. As they speeds begin to build on push to pass, coming down the big long straight in towards the braking area for turn number 17. With push to pass, you're looking at nearly 280 kilometres per hour, something like that. And then, of course, you're into that heavy braking area and shifting down from what would be 6th down into 2nd gear for that corner. So you're asking a lot of the brakes there and having to work your way through the gearbox as well. So we're back over the start-finish line. Another lap completed. 15 laps now completed by our race leader. We've got 7 3/4 minutes remaining on the pits, and in the pit lane now, that's Sam Nesser, isn't it?
Yep, rehydrating, clearly beads of sweat. He's a little been working out in the car there. Oh, there we go. Cooper, yes,
Cooper Broll, yeah.
Trying to make a move up the inside. I've just been looking at the background of the shot. We've got Fabio Greco there, lurking in 6th. And the more these two battle, the more he can close that gap. He is also in the AM class fight, so he's looking to just close up on these two whilst they are battling away and maybe sneak into a podium paying position.
Yeah, it was 2.2 seconds back at the beginning of this lap was Fabio Greco, so let's just see what he might be able to do. So all of these cars running in the AM category, so 2nd, 3rd and 4th in AM, running 5th, 6th and 7th places overall at this stage. Fabio Greco hasn't quite caught the two ahead. As you say, absolutely, the squabbling is just slowing them both up.
He was 0.8 of a second faster in Sector 1, so he is he's gaining enough on them, but it's once he joins the battle, The hard part is then trying to make a move and get past.
That's the problem.
When 2 becomes 3, there's even less room to play with. So,
and that then might be the opportunity for the next car behind. It's about 3.5 seconds back to begin to close in, and that would be John Miller at the wheel of the number 8 car, which is the green car with the sort of grey and the yellow stripes down the centre of it. Yeah, you can see him in the background of the shot, and he is also then bringing with him the next of the cars as well, which is going to be Jesse Lazar in the yellow car with the pink flashes down the centre of it. So it's all starting to get close again with 6 minutes to go. Some of the quicker cars beginning to catch some of those that maybe stop for a shorter period.
Exactly, yeah. So with 3 AM cars in front, that might make the job a little harder for John to make some pace and make some forward progress, but it might help some of the AM drivers to let him pass and then follow him through. So we're going to have a very interesting last 5 minutes to this race.
I think that the drivers are also, you know, a mixture of learning this circuit, because some of them won't have raced on this before. There was a test here earlier on in the year, but some didn't come along to that. But also the evolution of the circuit, because, you know, we've had warmer temperatures the last few days. It's potentially going to be colder for tomorrow's race. The circuit has rubbered up. It was dusty on Thursday. It's had more and more rubber put down there by, of course, the Formula 1 and the Formula 2 cars as well. And to a few of the drivers, they're saying, you know, because that's a softer compound than they're running, the cars are actually moving around a bit more on the rubber that's been laid down by some of the other races. So the circuit is evolving.
Yeah, exactly. And they did come and test earlier in the year, but it was a much shorter version. It was only for turns 1 and 2, and then I believe
this is Michael O'Brien trying to wiggle his way through and past the 44, which will now be Ned McPherson, because that's a solo-driven car. So Michael O'Brien should be able to pick it off, because Michael is a pro.
Nicely done, there
Ned
it was.
Is an AM eligible for the Papaya Cup, and as you would expect, yeah, it didn't take him long to deal with that. Michael O'Brien, who is a very, very well-acquitted and experienced driver, started cutting his teeth in single-seaters, moved into sports cars, and is also a very good historic racing driver, isn't he?
Yes, exactly, but not far behind is the number 52 car, which spun on the first lap. That is now piloted by Mr. Osborne, who is making good progress up through the field, actually, despite their unfortunate opening lap.
Yeah, considering how long Eric Berens was delayed as a result of that, they are driving a fantastic race in the hands of both Eric, his recovery drive, and now Joe Osborne, the pro that's taken over that particular car.
That's Ryan James keeping a close eye on Ollie Webb in the 22 car, and just in the background, Ron Trenker.
And there, I'm afraid, stopping out on circuit, that's Joe Osborne. You were just talking about him, and it's all gone wrong, I'm afraid.
Curse of the commentator. Right, I shall have to avoid Joe in the paddock later, but that is a shame.
So not quite sure what the problem is. There's no obvious signs of anything wrong with the car. Fully inflated tyres on this side. There's no sign of any smoke or lubricant or anything coming out of it. So there's some sort of issue, which means he's not going to be able to see the checkered flag, unfortunately, and that's such a shame after the brilliant recovery drive from Eric, and then that drive, as you all would expect from Joe Osborne, the pro. It's going to come to nothing,
unfortunately, but they will have another go tomorrow, which is the benefit of our race weekends. 2 races, different qualifying sessions, so they will get that sorted, I'm sure, with the help of the McLaren technicians, and be back out tomorrow morning for our race at 10:30.
Is it a slightly longer race tomorrow? It's a 40-minute race today. It says 40 minutes plus 1 lap for tomorrow. So this is the point at which I think we've got no overtaking because of the stricken car of Joe Osborne, which is there. Yep, so there's no overtaking into that part of the circuit. So Joe out of the car right on the very edge of the runoff. So just localised yellow flags covering that one at the moment. So for the likes of Michael O'Brien, he's going to have to keep his powder dry and then try and attack to try and carve his way through elsewhere around the lap at this stage.
Yeah, so we are now looking at the battle for second overall. So Patrick Liddy has caught up with Dennis Tierman, but we've got yellow flags on the back straight there, so he cannot overtake.
No, so let's just have a quick look.
Yeah,
something's happened out there on the circuit
coming up,
and let's see what it might be between the two of them. Now, we had some good battles going on elsewhere, so let's just have a quick look up towards the braking area. This is going to be Fabio Greco, and Fabio Greco gets together with John Milner, and I think that was what caused the problem between the pair of them, and that was actually into the yellow flag zone for Joe Osborne's car as well. Yeah,
that was John went up the inside there, but perhaps carried a little bit too much speed through, and was maybe unsighted there by Fabio.
Yeah, so it looks as though the race leader is slowing down, which does suggest we might be going under safety car or full course caution potentially, because all of a sudden the pace has slowed, hasn't it? You can see the yellow flags out all the way around the circuit. So James Lee is now circulating under full course yellow by the look of things. So in reality, the gaps I don't think should close up, because I don't think we've gone safety car, have we, at this stage?
No, but full course yellows, as you say, so that will slow everyone down. We've only got 1 minute and 18 seconds left on the clock to go.
Yeah, now in the background,
he has slowed down a lot. So Dennis Tierman is now right on his tail. Tanner Harvey right behind him, and Ollie Webb there as well. So all the top four after all that, and we've got Kevin Madsen sandwiched in there as well.
this was a little bit like, I suppose, what happened at Sonoma, where it was a late safety car that bunched the pack and we ended up with a grandstand finish. But under these conditions, with where Joe Osborne's car is, it's down to our corner workers, our track marshals, to try and see if they can get that car out of harm's way. Otherwise, we might be faced with finishing this particular race under full course yellow.
Which would be a shame, but with only 32 seconds left, I think that might be the way it's going to go.
Yeah, I believe so. Safety car is now out there, so it's not gone from full course yellow, it has gone to safety car. So that was why the pack has all now queued up behind. First indication on our screen now also showing that the safety car is indeed out there. And based on where the safety car is at the moment, which is just heading through turn number 14, turn number 15 with 10 seconds to go, we are going to finish behind the safety car, because I think, you know, the clock is going to be down at 0 at the end of this lap, and therefore you could well be saying that'll be it. The checkered flag should come out at the end of this lap. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, clock has hit 0, so I think that will be the case. So it's a bit of a shame to end under a safety car, but absolutely the right call. And it's been a fantastic race.
Enjoyed this one, yeah. I mean, the overtake for the lead of the race happened during the pit stops, which, you know, in some respects is not as good as the overtake happening out on track, but equally as much, you know, the likes of James Lee clearly pushed really, really hard from when he took over the car from Sam Nesser, and they did a good enough job to make sure they got the undercut in the pit lane. So hats off to them.
Exactly, yeah, no, good job. Pleased for Jeff Cook and Dennis Tierman. I think if we had run the full race, I think that we would have had an interesting battle there for second overall with Tanner Harvey. But you've got to run the race you've got, and here we go, checkered flag and victory for Sam Nesser and James Lee in Miami.
Yeah, they'll be absolutely delighted with that one. So Sam Nesser and James Lee for RWE Motorsport are the first of those home, and the number 74 therefore is going to pick up its first win of the season from what were arguably pretty mixed fortunes at Sonoma, because that particular car was had a weekend to forget at Sonoma, didn't it?
Yeah, they did have a few issues over the course of the weekend, but they bounced back. They still ended up with a double podium in third place, so it proves that resilience is always is a good thing to have. But yeah, they've done very well this weekend. They've been pace setters in every session pretty much. The car will start from pole position tomorrow as well, but just a very good solid drive by both drivers, and a richly deserved victory overall. Yeah,
I mean, they didn't start from pole. It was Jeff Cook that started from pole position, but there was only a tenth of a second between Jeff Cook and Sam Nesser in qualifying, so, you know, both of them had really good pace in the qualifying session. I think they were the only two drivers to finish in the 1 minute 57s.
Best drive of my life. This is absolutely insane.
So there is Ryan James, is it not?
That is, and he's a very happy chap. Great to see. He's pleased with his class win in Pro-Am. Yeah, he's always a great person to have in the paddock. He's comes along every race weekend, always happy, just very much enjoying his racing, and he's got a good teammate in Ollie Webb. But I think they've turned into good friends on the back of that as well. So it's a really nice experience for both of them. And Ryan's driving has come along superbly in previous years. So I don't think it'd be too long before we maybe see him out in some GT3 equipment.
That's not their best overall result of the season, because they did finish on the overall podium at the first race at Sonoma. But that is their first Pro-Am win of the season. So that's why he's looking so happy.
There we go.
Because it's where you finish in your class that gives you the points, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's maximum points for them in the Pro-Am category, having finished in 4th place overall. So the safety car just bringing the cars back around once more. They'll then all make their way in towards the Parc Ferme area where the technical checks will be taken. The pictures will cease if you're watching the stream rather than here at the circuit. The pictures will go to a long shot, but we are going to stay with you talking to ensure that we can then bring you the live podiums. But that's going to be about maybe 10 minutes away from now, 8 minutes away, because logistically, because this is a temporary circuit, isn't it, here at Miami. The cars park in one place, the podium is another, and we need to make sure we scoop up our class winners, which will head towards the podium.
Exactly, yeah. So the cars will, at the end of this lap, come into the pit lane. They'll go through pit lane and into our paddock area, where they will park up and, as you say, go under Parc Ferme conditions. We will then pick up the class winners, put them on a buggy, and then they will go round to the podium, which is actually on the exit of turn 5. So it's actually between turn 3 and turn 4. So it's on the other side of the stadium to the pit lane. So as you say, logistics need to play a part as we ferry the class winners over. So that's why Ryan is so happy, because he gets to go and stand on the Formula 1 podium and enjoy the moment.
Yep, so cars making their way down the pit lane, and all of the officials just making sure that the cars head into the correct area of the paddock. When we talk about Parc Ferme, that means that the cars are not allowed to be touched by the mechanics. So in other words, the cars park up, and then there is no work, no adjustments, no even taking tyre pressures allowed to be done on the car. The cars are absolutely under restrictions, so that none of the mechanics or any of the team members can touch the cars until the officials have decided that Parc Ferme is finished and the technical checks have been completed.
Exactly, and I'm sure all the teams and drivers will be hoping for a very short Parc Ferme for this evening, because the drivers will want to, the mechanics will want to get their hands on the car, make sure they're all in fighting and fit condition for tomorrow morning's race, because we will be back out again at 8:30 tomorrow morning.
That's right, yeah, we're sort of last circuit activity pretty much today. We are first circuit activity tomorrow, so it's a quick turnaround for the team. So they'll be busy working until later on this evening, and they'll also be almost the first of the teams to arrive onto track to ensure that all of the cars and the drivers are ready to go first thing in the morning for our second race of the weekend, before we then pack things away and head over to Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, for the next couple of races, which will be in the middle part of June. Then it's on to Road America, the last weekend of August, for rounds 7 and 8 of the championship, and then it's Indianapolis Motor Speedway for round 9 and 10. And our final 2 races of the season. So the fantastic backdrop of the Hard Rock Stadium, home to the Miami Dolphins here in Miami, Florida. And I love the way they've worked with this circuit to create, worked with this area and with the stadium to create this circuit, you know. And when you wander into the stadium, not only as you walk up the escalators and have a look, you can see different vantage points of the circuit, but also the centre of the stadium where the football pitch is where the teams are based. That's the Formula 1 pits, or the Formula 1 paddock for this weekend, I should say.
Exactly, yeah. So and you can actually go up and in the stands and look down and spy what's going on in the paddock. But yeah, it's a great environment. I think it's a very creative use of the space they've got.
Very much so.
Someone said to me earlier this week they've done a great job with the car park, and I completely agree. You know, what they've built here and the circuit they've got, it really is fantastic. We actually did a track walk on Thursday with Kevin Madsen, which was really interesting, him talking through the approach to the circuit. It's a very smooth circuit, but in terms of the surface, but as we've said before, undulations and lots of things to bear in mind.
Let's confirm some results for you then for round 3 of the McLaren Trophy America. It's a win for Sam Nesser and James Lee, who claimed the win, and in second place it's Jeff Cook and Dennis Tierman. Third place goes the way of Patrick Liddy and Tammy Harvey, with fourth place being Ryan James and Ollie Webb. Cooper Broll was in fifth, with Tony Davies in sixth place, and seventh place was Alex Hayner and Jesse Lazar. Fabio Greco finished next up in eighth place. Ninth place goes the way of the pairing of Tio and Miller, that is Kaia Tio and John Miller. And completing the top 10, it was Bollard and Schmidt that were there in 10th position. 11th place next up is going to be the pairing of Stockard and Bell, with Foskis and Johnny O'Connell finishing in 12th place. Bill Fenich was there in 13th place. Colin Harrison was 14th place. Randy Hyland and Michael O'Brien were 15th, ahead of Stephen Sabaro, who we saw having some great battles out there, finished in 16th place. Ned McPherson was next up in 17th, with Scott Sabaro in 18th place. 19th place goes to Michael Steeves and Keegan Massey, and CR Sincock completed the top 20. Then as we head outside of the top 20, Ron Trenker and John Lancaster had a few issues with the Greystone GT car. They were the last of the cars to finish on the lead lap, with Neil Lamberg and Kevin Madsen finishing a lap adrift, and also retiring late on the car of Eric Berens and Sam Osborne. For Monty and Tommy Pintos, they didn't get past the first corner, unfortunately. They were the only drivers that were non-classified in that particular one. So the cars have made their way back into Parc Fermé. We're just going to talk about the race a little bit whilst we're waiting for our podiums to take place. So we had wins in the Pro class for the overall race winners, which was Sam Nessa and James Lee. Win in the AM class for the car that finished in second overall, Jeff Cook and Dennis Tiomin. And the Pro-Am class went the way of Ryan James and Ollie Webb, who finished fourth.
Exactly, which we saw Ryan was very happy about the pit lane there. So they were fourth overall. But as you say, first of the Pro-Am winners. Looking down the list in terms of who was second and third in the classes, we've got Alex Pollard and Spencer Schmidt was actually second in Pro-Am, behind Ryan and Ollie. And third, we've got, and after a good drive, we've got Randy Hyland and Michael O'Brien. So that's a podium finish for Michael on his debut in McLaren Trophy North America. In the Pro class, as we said, we've got Sam Nessa and James Lee taking overall victory and working their way to the podium for their champagne and trophy. But third overall in the race, but second in class, was Patrick Liddy and Tanner Harvey. And moving down, third will be Alex Hayner and Jesse Lazare. So they will be happy on their return to the championship and their first Pro class podium.
They will be, yeah. And I was also just looking through, and that was the car that stood out to me as well, the number 43 car, which is the Motorsport in Action car of Alex Hayner and Jesse Lazare, who probably did more overtakes than anybody, because they finished 7th. They started on the grid in 13th position, so there was a chunk of work had to be done there.
They did, and I think both drivers did well. As we said, Alex Hayner did a superb job in the first stint before handing over to Jesse Lazare to bring it home. But you know, we were talking about Jesse in the final stages there in that battle for 6th, 7th, 5th, 6th and 7th. So yeah, they've done well. We would be remiss not to talk about the rest of the AM podium, particularly as they've all done so well. So as we mentioned, we've got Jeff Cook and Dennis Tierman, who finished second overall, but first of the AM drivers. But Cooper Broll had a superb race, hung on in there, did very well under some decent pressure from pro drivers, held his own. He's a driver who came into McLaren Trophy last year, had very limited experience. He'd done quite a bit with the Skip Barber Racing School, was partnered with Tommy Pintos last year actually, and clearly served him well. But this year he's running solo as an AM and is developing very nicely as a driver and has a great amount of natural ability. And he finishes just in front of Tony Davis, who, as we mentioned during the race, he is new to the championship, but has a lot of experience and will be very happy, I'm sure, with third in the class.
When it comes to Papaya Cup as well, in second place, Dennis Tierman is eligible for the Papaya Cup, so he'll pick up the win in that, won't he?
He will indeed, so that will put him nicely in the mix there, and yeah, I think he could be one to watch for the Papaya Cup as the season progresses.
The way then we were talking about whilst the race was on as well, about the time penalties that get picked up for the winners. So of course the likes of our winners in their classes today will then pick up time penalties for tomorrow's race. So in other words, you know, if you win your class, you're going to pick up 7. If you're second, you'll pick up 5. If you're third, you'll pick up 3. So for the number 11 that only got to the first corner in that race, for the likes of Mondi Bagsagian and Tommy Pintos, who had won 2 races on the bounce and had picked up 10 seconds as a result of that, a non-finish today means that they are in, I always try and look for positives out of negatives, a non-finish today means they're in a better position with very little success seconds for tomorrow. Exactly, it sort of resets, so they get a chance. They get to do the bare minimum of their drive time penalty in the pits, so it gives them a fighting chance coming back. So again, it's part of the regulations. It's a nice way of doing it. You know, if you have a bad day, as some of them have had today, it all resets tomorrow. You know, different qualifying, different race, and the slate gets wiped clean. Exactly. Yeah. So it's a good thing to see, and it enables everyone to come in fresh, not
carrying baggage over from the previous race, which sometimes can cause issues.
Absolutely, and the fact that you get those 2 qualifying sessions, it's not as though it's done off race 1 results to give you race 2 grid, because if you have a bad race 1, it hampers the whole weekend. So it's much better, much fairer. The drivers are not that far away from finding their way on towards the podium, so we will hopefully see them heading onto the podium very shortly. It's just going to be the winners of each class that we're going to get onto the podium, so the actual top 3 in each class, that official podium will take place away from the stream, back at the hospitality area, I'm guessing?
Well, yes, so tomorrow after race 2, we will have, there is a podium set up, or a stage set up actually opposite our hospitality unit, on the outer perimeter of the stadium. So we will have all the podiums for both races, so that will be Pro, Pro-Am and Am, and the Papaya Cup podium as well, so plenty of trophies to give out, plenty of champagne to spray potentially.
So the way the classes work then, so that's based on FIA grading, so if it's a pro car it has to have a silver or above in it, but also 2 silvers or above, because it's a full pro car. If it's a Pro-Am car, 1 silver and above and 1 bronze. If it's an Am car, it'll be 2 bronzes, and Papaya Cup is for lesser experienced drivers or those of a certain age. So we're going to get the podium underway then, following the 3rd round of the McLaren Trophy North America. So our drivers will be welcomed onto the podium with the Pro class winners, the Pro-Am class winners and the Am class winners making their way out.
There we go, that's Jeff and Dennis, very happy with their day's work. They're running out there for... I think Dennis getting carried away there.
Well, I think it's because he won his class, but of course they are just the class winners in Am, and that's not being disrespectful, but you know, they are the Am class winners, so they step on to podium number 3. The 2nd spot on the podium goes the way of our Pro-Am class winners, which is Ryan James and Ollie Webb, who look absolutely delighted with that. And for these drivers, this is a special moment. To stand on the podium of a Formula 1 weekend is a special place to be, and what a special place to be for Sam Nessa and James Lee, who won the Pro category and are going to make their way onto the podium. They shake the hands of their respective competitors, hop on to the top step, and now we're going to see the national anthem of the winning team.
There we go.
So there we go, 6 happy-looking drivers on the podium, and now it's time to hand over some trophies, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Nick Brown, who is president of the Americas for McLaren, shaking the hands of James Lee and Sam Nessa, who could not be happier, I would say, with their day's work.
If you want to win one race, it's in winning it probably at the highlight of the season, the Miami Grand Prix circuit weekend. There is Ryan James receiving his trophy, and a very happy but rather warm-looking Ollie Webb alongside, big smiles on both of their faces, and equally as much as you can imagine, a great smile on the face of Jeff Cook, who receives his trophy, and then Dennis Tierman, who claims with Jeff Cook the Am trophy.
Look at that smile. I mean, Jeff is probably the happiest person in the paddock anyway. He smiles just by coming into the racetrack, but yeah, great sight to see them all there smiling and happy. I think Nick will exit stage left so he doesn't get too wet from the champagne shower now.
He escaped quickly, and you can tell that Ollie Webb is the pro driver there on the podium, because he absolutely knew what he needed to do with the champagne, and that was soak everybody and make sure he got them before they got him. So.
Exactly, straight in. That's why he's a member of the British Racing Drivers Club. Quick on the draw.
So there we go, that is our podiums done for round 3 of the 2026 McLaren Trophy North America. And and those drivers will do it all again tomorrow with the stickier overalls. They'll be doing it tomorrow. So that is the end of our footage for today from here at the Miami Grand Prix. To Tom Baker, the media manager from McLaren, thank you for joining me in the commentary box. For myself, Mark Werrell, thanks for joining us today. We'll catch you again tomorrow for race 4 of the season here in Miami. Until then, it's goodbye.